Good evening, everybody. You're very welcome to our press conference on our package of proposals today on the protocol on Ireland and Northern Ireland. I'm joined here by Vice President Maros Sefcovic, who will walk you through the package. Over to you, Vice President.
Good evening, and thanks for coming or tuning in at this rather late hour. But I'm truly glad to be here for what I believe is an important moment in our EU-UK relations. Today, the European Commission has proposed a robust package of creative, practical solutions designed to help Northern Ireland deal with the consequences of Brexit while further benefiting from the protocol on Ireland and Northern Ireland. And if I were to label this proposed solution, I would dub them the package of enhanced opportunities. And this is in fact our core purpose. The EU has an unwavering commitment to the people of Northern Ireland, and for this reason to the implementation of the protocol, which brings about unique advantages of dual access to both the UK and EU markets. Ultimately, our number one priority remains to ensure that the hard-earned gains of the Good Friday Belfast Agreement, I'm talking about peace and stability, are protected while avoiding a hard border on the island of Ireland and maintaining the integrity of the EU single market. Before I walk you through the details, let me underline that today's package has the potential to make real, tangible difference on the ground. The reason why I am so confident is simple. We have listened to, engaged with and heard Northern Irish stakeholders, from political leaders to businesses and a cross-section of civic society. And our proposed solutions are direct, genuine response to concerns they have raised. We have put a lot of hard work into this package. We explored every possible angle of the protocol and at times went beyond current EU law. In effect, we are proposing an alternative model for implementation of the protocol. On the one hand, the flow of goods between Great Britain and Northern Ireland will be facilitated for goods that are to stay in Northern Ireland. On the other, robust safeguards and monitoring mechanisms should be put in place to make sure that they stay in Northern Ireland. Now turning to our first proposal on medicines. You may recall that during my visit to Belfast in September, I said that for my part, I would do whatever it takes to guarantee the uninterrupted long-term supply of medicines from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. And indeed, we have completely turned our rules upside down and inside out to find a solid solution to an outstanding challenge. That involves the EU changing its own rules on medicines. In practice, British wholesalers of medicines will be able to continue supplying Northern Ireland from their current location in Great Britain. They will not need to relocate infrastructure, including testing facilities or regulatory functions, to Northern Ireland or the European Union. This means, for instance, that Great Britain can continue acting as a hub for supply of generic medicines for Northern Ireland, even though it is now a third country. We are ready to put forward a legislative proposal to this end. Turning to the second part of our package, the area of public, plant and animal health and the movement of sanitary and phytosanitary goods from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. We are talking about a significant range of retail goods that would be for sale to end consumers in Northern Ireland only. These would benefit from both simplified certification and an approximately 80% reduction of checks and controls required today. Let me illustrate what this means. Imagine you are a Northern Irish business importing products of animal origin like yogurt, cheese or chickens from Great Britain. More than 80% of the identity and physical checks previously required will now be removed. This will significantly ease the process for bringing food supplies from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. Similarly, a lorry transporting different food products like dairy, meat, fish, fruits and vegetables from Great Britain to supermarkets in Northern Ireland will now just need one certificate stating all goods of different types, class or description meet the requirement of EU legislation. So if you are transporting 100 different food products, only one certificate is needed instead of 100. For all this to work in practice, however, the UK government needs to do its part. For example, by ensuring that permanent border control posts are up and running as agreed a long time ago. We also need specific safeguards in place, like clear labels and the ability to monitor every link of the supply chain. We are showing great flexibility, but the remaining controls must be done properly. I believe, and it's understandable, that in this way we want to protect the integrity of our EU single market. We are similarly ambitious in the third part of our package concerning the customs area. Here we propose to expand the scope of the existing scheme on goods not at risk of entering the EU single market to a wider group of businesses and products. For example, more small and medium-sized enterprises could benefit from this scheme, while goods covered by this scheme are free of customs duties because they stay in Northern Ireland. We also propose to cut in half the customs formalities and processes that are required today for these goods. For instance, a Northern Irish car dealer ordering car parts from Great Britain will only need to provide basic information to the customs authorities, such as the invoice value of the car parts and the parties to the transaction. Once again, up to 50% of the current formalities will be removed. This is possible if the right safeguards are put in place, ranging from the real-time access to databases to better market surveillance to a termination clause. Combined with our proposed solutions in the area of sanitary and phytosanitary rules, this will create the type of express lane, vastly facilitating the movement of the goods from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. And lastly, in response to a clear and strong demand on the ground, we are proposing ways to enhance the participation of Northern Irish authorities and stakeholders in the implementation of protocol, while fully respecting the UK's constitutional order. Our proposed solutions aim to improve the exchange of information by establishing structured dialogues between various stakeholders and the European Commission. Northern Irish stakeholders would be invited to attend some meetings of the specialised committees, and we also aim to create a strong link between the Northern Ireland Assembly and the EU-UK Parliamentary Partnership Assembly. Before I conclude, let me reiterate that with this robust package of practical, imaginative solutions, we can continue to implement the protocol on Ireland, Northern Ireland, for the benefit of all communities on the ground. It not only cements stability and predictability, an indispensable ingredient for the local economy to flourish, but also paves the way for enhanced opportunities. When I visited Northern Ireland in September, I met its resilient business community and civic society, and I heard about potential investors from the United States, Canada, European Union, keen to take advantage of Northern Ireland's unique position provided there is clarity on how things will work first. Earlier today, I presented this package of enhanced opportunities to our Member States and the European Parliament. We continue to stand united behind Northern Ireland, while at the same time remaining determined to protect our internal market. Now I invite the UK government to engage with us earnestly and intensively on all our proposals. With them, I am convinced we could be in the home stretch when it comes to the protocol. It is my hope that in the coming weeks we will jointly arrive at an agreed solution that Northern Ireland truly deserves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice President. We'll take now a few questions. First from the room. Adam, please.
Mr. Sefcovic, thank you very much indeed for the presentation. I wonder, you've obviously heard the speech from Lord Frost yesterday, and you've heard his absolute determination not to sign up to a protocol that includes the European Court of Justice. Is that a red line for you as much as it is for him? And also, can I ask, what preparations have you suggested if you do have to trigger Article 16?
Thank you very much for that question. I think what is our end today is to stay on positive note, to stay on the all benefits which this package and which the dual market access is offering to Northern Ireland. And I believe that what we presented today is such an appealing picture that we would really focus all our constructive and creative energy how to make this as good as possible for the people and businesses in Northern Ireland. So I want to focus on the positive agenda. I want to focus on the solutions. And I hope that Lord Frost will join me in that effort.
Thank you, Vice President. Bruno.
Thank you. The measures on SPS customs and even actually on medicines seem to go some way to creating almost a dual regulatory system in Northern Ireland for goods coming from the UK. That seems to be in terms of express lane and all the rest of it. So could you address that? You yourself talked about an alternative model for the protocol. That seems to be it. Yet you seem to be prepared to take a risk with Cumberland sausages, but you're not prepared to take a risk with people's dogs and cats. Why is it that you still see pet passports as being too risky, even though there hasn't been a case of rabies in mainland Britain since 1922?
Thank you very much for that question. I think that here, again, very clearly I have to say that the proposals, what we put on the package, being to a great extent inspired by Northern Ireland Business Brexit Working Group. So the package, as you have just heard from me, was very much inspired by the very concrete challenges and the issues I heard most frequently in Northern Ireland, and the issue of the Cumberland sausages was one of them. So we clearly address it, even though, as you know, this is not allowed in the EU to have this type of imports from the third countries. Here we are again making enormous effort for the Northern Ireland only solution. But of course, what we would like to see here is that, of course, public health is appropriately protected, and therefore we would require, as we agreed already some time ago, for this type of productions to have a specific export health certificate. And if it comes to the transport of the live animals, here I would refer you to the set of measures which we presented already by the end of June, where we come up with quite significant suggestions how to address this issue, including tagging, retagging, or the proposals for the assistance guiding dogs.
Okay. Jess.
Thanks very much. Jess Parker from BBC News. I'm sorry to go back to the European Court of Justice, but you say you want to focus on the positives, but it is an issue in these talks. How do you think that gap can be bridged, if at all? And also, you've called on the UK government to negotiate earnestly. Do you think it will?
I would start with the second part of the question. Of course I hope. I think we invested so much effort in negotiating the withdrawal agreement, protocol on Ireland and Northern Ireland, the TCA. And I think we looked at the issue in particular on the island of Ireland with all aspects. And we've been and you've been following this very closely, so I do not have to repeat to you all the efforts, all the attempts, and all the angles which have been tested here. In the end, we found the solution which we both agreed is the best one for the future. All this was approved, ratified by UK, so it became very clearly the instrument of the international law. And we did it because I believe that we share the same goals. We share the goal of prosperity, of stability, of peace on the island of Ireland. I believe we also share the goal of no hard border between Ireland and Northern Ireland, and therefore we went for really unprecedented way where the EU was actually delegated the control of our external border to our UK partners. It's indeed unprecedented, as many of the things which I presented to you today. So I really hope that we share the same goal of peace, stability and prosperity on the island of Ireland. And I hope that we also share the same goal to make sure that the businesses and people of Northern Ireland would benefit, and I would add enormously, from the dual market access. And that's something which would bring enormous pluses for the Northern Ireland economy. And I think that from this logic it's very clear that we cannot have access to the single market without the supervision of the European Court of Justice. But I think that we should really put aside this business of the red lines, the business of deadlines, real of artificial, and we should really focus on what we hear from the stakeholders and the people in the Northern Ireland. They want us to solve the practical issues. They want to put this issue behind them. They want to benefit from this dual market use. They want to have peace and the stability. The business leaders, all of them to whom I talk me how they need legal certainty. And I fully understand that. And I think it's honestly our job, our utmost duty to deliver on that. We in the EU believe that we did it last year. Okay, there have been some teething problems, there have been some issues which clearly been arisen over the last year. And I think that you can see it from our actions that we recognize what have been the legitimate concerns, practical problems, and we are delivering on proposals how we can solve them. If I'm talking about 80% reduction checks, about half of the customs formalities to be reduced, about express lanes, about all really bespoke solutions, I think that it's quite obvious that we are really doing our utmost. And I hope that this would be reciprocated by our UK partners. Currently, our team of experts is in London presenting the elements of this package. I invited Lord Frost for lunch for Friday, where I hope we will have a chance to go deeper in this package, and I hope that we will start very, very intense process of discussions, talks on the expert, but also on the political level. And I can also tell you that it's my best hope and belief that if we do it with all the energy, I hope with constructive spirit, we indeed could be in the home stretch, and I would be very happy if we can start the new year with new agreements, new rules in place, and finally focus on what I hope will be the future, and that would be the new positive agenda for EU-UK relations. That's the attitude I'm bringing to the table, and of course I hope that this would be reciprocated by my esteemed colleague, Lord Frost.
Thank you. Okay, we have time for one or two more questions. I will go to the online chat because I haven't taken any from there yet. Naomi, please.
Hello, thanks very much for taking my question. Naomi O'Leary, Irish Times. Vice President Sefcovic, could you tell me, these negotiations have been going on for years now. What was the date on which, or the time, when you first heard the words European Court of Justice mentioned as a problem in regards to the protocol? Can you remember? Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Naomi, for that question. I was referring to my visit to Northern Ireland. I'm referring to it so often because for me it left me with very lasting impressions. And I really met a lot of stakeholders, and from one side I saw big positive excitement about the opportunities the protocol and dual market access represents, and many of the proposals we are putting on the table been indeed inspired by that. Actually, one of the first meetings I had in Northern Ireland with the Northern Ireland Business Brexit Working Group. I heard them from the representatives of border communities. I heard them from the political leaders I met in Stormont. I heard them from the representatives of civic society whom I met. And I can tell you that in all the meetings I had, and you've been following my visits, so you know that I had quite a few of these interactions and exchanges, and in all this discussion, the issue of the European Court of Justice was mentioned once. When I first heard about this issue, to tell you honestly, most probably it was in the command paper which was published by the UK government just before the summer break.
Thank you very much. Joe, over to you next, please.
Hiya, thank you. Joe Barnes from the Daily Telegraph. So your proposal has seemingly been well received in London, and there was talk of Lord Frost in the House of Lords earlier suggested that he would go into these negotiations with no red lines. So just wondering from your perspective, are there any international arbitration mechanisms that preserve a role for the ECJ at arm's length, which could be used to bridge the gaps between the UK and EU on governance, in between what you would call a red line of maintaining a role for the ECJ? Thank you.
I would say that I think that we should have the discussions on all these elements with the team of Lord Frost, and I'll have that opportunity to go into the greater detail with him. But you would understand that if you are talking about the single market, which is clearly, respecting the EU rules, that we have European Court of Justice as a final arbiter. I think that's very, very clear. And I think it was very clear from the outset when we started to discuss the withdrawal agreement, when we started to discuss the different protocols, which then became the part of the whole withdrawal package. And I think that here our position is quite clear, but as I said, I'm glad if also Lord Frost thinks that we should put aside the red lines and we should focus on how to solve in a practical way the problems on the table and the complications and burdens which have been so eloquently described by different stakeholders from the Northern Ireland to whom I had the honour and the pleasure to listen to, because I came there to solve the problems. And I hope that with this solution-driven attitude we can really resolve all difficult issues which have been presented to me in various interactions I have with the Northern Irish representatives, and I think that this is the area that should be the focus upon which we should really channel all our positive energies.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid that's all we have time for this evening. Just to let you know that all documents and press material are available online. Thank you very much and have a nice evening.
Thank you.